Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. Welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about basically how Brian Michael Bendis reinvented the Avengers in the early 2000s in his new Avengers run. He just did a really killer job. He took a lot of risks. Most of them paid off. Remember, a lot of hardcore Avengers fans just really not liking what he was doing at first, but he won him over with time. I remember going into this just curious. I wanted to see what he's going to do. I had a hard time accepting the characters that he put on the roster, like Spider-Man, Wolverine, that really don't feel like Avengers characters. But Bendis was able to do it in such a way that he wins me over with that. Having Luke Cage on the Avengers 2, further down the line, have some really good Luke Cage-centric story arcs. Spider-Woman 2, and later on, Sentry's on the team, very briefly. The Sentry story arc, also really cool. So, let's get into this. So, the interesting thing with Bendis is that he throws in characters that you normally wouldn't see pop up in Avengers comics in general. And we start off with the Spider-Man villain. Like Electro is the first villain you get to see, page 2 or 3. He gets contracted for a job. What he's basically going to do. Spoilers, go out and read it. It's really, really well done, this story. And the art, I think his name is David Fincher. David Fincher's art is just incredible. It's fantastic. There's a couple of pages that you just stop and just really want to take it in. So, story starts off, we're on Riker Island, one of those famous Marvel prisons, where we have Daredevil. He goes there, he has to go see a mystery client, and he's accompanied with Luke Cage and Spider-Woman. Go into this prison full of supervillains, when a blackout hits the prison. And look, this is a real ballsy move, but it's fantastic storytelling. We have a blackout. We literally see the city have a blackout. And look how it's illustrated. And a whole black page. I remember seeing this and going, oh shit, this is awesome. Energy blast. Electro, who's seemingly way too powerful than he normally is. Electro's power scale oscillates a lot. Spidey's chilling at his house with Mary Jane. He sees this electric attack hitting the island. He goes, and that's what Spider-Man does. He sees shit go down. He's going to go in that direction. And basically, the story starts off as a jailbreak story. Electro goes in. He's commissioned to go get one guy, but he breaks everyone out of the prison just as a distraction. And I remember this, I just love jailbreak stories. This is the fourth, I started reading comics in the early 90s. So this is the fourth or fifth jailbreak story that I've read up until that moment. The other ones that I really like are, there's a jailbreak story with the Thunderbolts and one with the Heroes for Hire. And Bendis sort of sets something up. We get to see all these C-list villains that are all going to be major players further down the line in part of the Hood's team, the main villains to the new Avengers. The Hood is going to be the big bad, and he's going to have this villain army of all these C and D listers. And it's really fun to see all the characters. There's a lot of care taken to this. You see Jigsaw, Scarecrow, Controller, Armadillo, Slug. Bendis has a real thing for really obscure characters. So we cut to the basement, and the secret client that they're actually going to go see, not secret, but the mystery is Robert Reynolds, that seemingly has been accused of killing his wife. And obviously us as the readers, because the Sentry miniseries had come out prior to this, we know that Robert Reynolds is actually a Sentry. And what the hell is the Sentry doing in the prison? So we get the big jailbreak. Shit hits the fan. All these villains come out, start attacking the heroes. We get to see Carnage go up, trying to kill Foggy Nelson. Devil having to deal with Mr. Hyde, Hydro Man. And what happens is this actually reawakens Sentry. Sentry actually grabs Carnage, flies up into space, and rips him in half. And another job, I remember, with the blackout in the previous issue, my jaw dropped when I saw this. Again, incredible visual storytelling. And this wasn't one who had read Avengers up until this moment. You weren't accustomed to this level of violence. And Sentry seems to have a thing for ripping people apart, because later on he would rip Ares apart too. So our heroes have to deal with the jailbreak. And again, you see this no holds bar. Everyone's just basically fighting for their lives. And it's just a real treat to find all these obscure villains. Like here we have Mandrill. Then you have Purple Man, who Luke Cage crosses paths, and they both have history together. You can see Purple Man gets his ass kicked by Luke Cage because Luke Cage really hates Purple Man. So after what happens to Jailbreak, our heroes discover that one specific person was taken from the prison, and that all these other villains were there just to cover his tracks. And it was actually Karl Lycos, who's Sauron. Again, another character you never see pop up in Avengers stories. Sauron is obviously an X-Men villain. Prior to this, he was running around with Weapon X. So our heroes, after interrogating Electro, find out he broke out Sauron. They go to Savage Land. Prior to this, we have Captain America trying to reestablish the Avengers, recruit everyone that was on the island during this whole event. Prior to this, we had the whole Avengers disassembled, where Scarlet Witch loses her shit, flips out. She remembers she had kids, and that the Avengers had covered this up and basically killed a couple of members off the team. This led to the dissolution of the Avengers themselves. Also, we have the first appearance of the Avengers Tower. So our heroes go to Savage Land, try to hunt down Karl Lycos. They get captured by before they get captured by the Savage Land mutants, they cross paths with Wolverine, who obviously was trying to hunt down Sauron. Again, I was a real big X-Men fan, and I really didn't like the idea of Wolverine on the Avengers, but Bendis really sold it to me. And as time went on, I really liked Wolverine more on the Avengers than on the X-Men, up until Krakoa. Like, during the 2000s and 2010s, I think it really worked that Wolverine was more on the Avengers than on the X-Men. That's just a personal thing. But again, like seeing the Savage Land mutants pop up in a Avengers story. So the thing is, what we discover is the Savage Land mutants seem to be in cahoots with S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. is having like this secret operation in Savage Land. And when S.H.I.E.L.D. discovers that they've been discovered by the Avengers, the leader of the team, that's Yelena Belova, the second Black Widow within the MCU, is Black Widow's sister, but not in the comic books, sends a kill squad to kill them. No one can find out what the hell S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing here. And this actually later on leads into the Secret Invasion. Seems this was sort of like a scroll operation to get vibranium, something like that. But this series is just so cool. Again, David Fincher's art, it's really awesome. For some reason, I discovered the thing that Bendis has, that he sometimes doesn't care about continuity or takes some liberties with characters, because here we have Sauron, who got shot in the head. He survives that, and he starts spewing fire out of his mouth. Like, I've never seen Sauron do that. It might be in his power set, but I've never seen him do it. Like, I've seen it's here and never again. And that's one little thing that really bothers me about Bendis. Like, he always makes characters do things that really don't fit in that character, and he just uses it once because it's needed for the story, and that's it. That seems to be always, at least for me, lazy story writing. But outside of that, he launched a really awesome era for the Avengers. His work in general on all the Avengers runs, except for Avengers Assembled, was really good. Then later on, when you go into the X-Men, I mentioned many times, with the X-Men or with the Guardians, I didn't like his work so much, but here, I think it was spot on. So I'm going to leave this video here. Hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.